with this paper right here. This paper represents a challenge. Grades, competitions, relationships. The thing is that most of the people see only one side, and they lose. But I see more, and that is how I always win. And before anyone thinks that this is not possible and I'm lying, what if I told you that by the end of this talk, you will know how to win in every single situation and how to make any challenge fly away? The thing is that ever since I was a child, I have participated in numerous competitions of different kinds. And I'm far from being immune to criticism and failure, though it still hurt me inside. I still remember how not that long ago I had the honor of participating in the National Entrepreneurship Challenge. I was so happy working hard on my idea and prototype, but I ended up not placing at all. And even though people were telling me things like, it's okay, you will have numerous more tries and wins, or it's not the end of the world, it still hurt me inside. It did not matter how much support I have received, if that moment still made me question myself. Why in the world should I try anymore? And that is the thing. Failure is much more deeper than simply not achieving something. Failure feels personal. It can feel like a proof that we're not talented enough, not smart, or not worthy of success. And then we end up not only questioning our skills, but who we are. It threatens something we all care deeply about, our self-esteem. Well, how do we like to see ourselves? We like to see ourselves as competent, smart, capable, but when something challenges that image, it can leave us feeling disappointed, ashamed, and unmotivated. In fact, researchers from the University of Michigan shown that social pain, including rejection and failure, triggers nearly identical neural responses as physical pain. That means that failure literally hurts. Once we realize that sometimes even our best efforts don't always lead to success, something inside us tightens. It can feel like a ground shifts, like we're not fully in control anymore. And that loss of control can be terrifying. It pushes us towards stress, second guessing, and eventually avoidance. We tell ourselves it is safer not to try than to risk being hurt. You can see it in small everyday situations. When somebody wants to share a piece of themselves, a song they poured their heart into, a design, or a startup idea they've been quietly building. And when one harsh comment lands, just one, it echoes the loudest. It turns out all the praise and buries itself in their chest. Situations like that teach us painful lessons, that trying is dangerous, mistakes are humiliating, failing means we are a problem. And once these beliefs sink in, the most horrible thing happens. People stop reaching. Students stop learning, mentors abandon their ideas, and entrepreneurs quit before their first breakthrough. A horrible monster that is a fear of failure has murdered so many great potentials and left all the great stories untold. Not because of lack of talent, but simply because somebody gave up. Luckily, there is a 100% effective antidote against the fear of failure. Using this, you will feel lighter, fear to take the risks, and less weighted down by the possibility of failure. And the solution is a shift in perception. Yes, it might sound simple, almost too simple, but this one change can transform everything. By shifting perception, I mean that every failure, if you know how to interpret it and adopt a growth mindset, can transform into a win. And actually, a research from Stanford University done by psychologist Dweck shows that when people adopt a growth mindset, I believe that can be developed, they see failure as information rather than a verdict. And that's exactly when fear of failure loses its power. Then fear of failure becomes just information rather than identity. Once I realized this, not only have I learned how to cope with failure, but how to win inside of it. Here's a three-step reflection method that I used, that counters directly fear of failure because you see progress and what have you learned. You should ask yourself three simple questions. First, how did you actually feel and what did actually happen? So, what was the atmosphere like? What reactions did you notice? How did you feel? Second, what did you improve or learn? Even tiny improvements count. And third, resolution. One specific adjustment you'll make sure to follow next time. So, going back to the competition I have talked about before, this is exactly what I did after that. First, I realized that even though I spoke pretty confidently and answered questions pretty well, it seemed like I was speaking too fast, almost too fast to anyone understand my idea. Second, I improved a lot in my prototype, and just stepping out of my comfort zone was a huge success for me. Third, so even though I should keep up with confidence, perhaps I should use simpler words and explanations next time. And that is exactly when fear of failure lost its hold on me. Because I saw that I'm not a failure. I actually improved in some aspects. And that made me a learner. And actually, a winner in my own progress. And improvement after that was unbelievable. In almost any aspect, after using this reflection method, I improved by around 25%. But most importantly, I felt like a winner, simply because I tried and did not give up. So consider your most recent flop not as something to beat yourself up over, but as a great chance to recognize what have you learned and what will you improve next time. You can view it like a video game. Not often you complete the level from a first try, but once you experience it once, it will be easier to complete it the next time. Once you're done with the whole game, you're just happy about it, and you do not obsess over the levels which you failed at first. But I know that chasing your perception must be hard at first. That is why I have what I call 1% better challenge. Yes, it might sound too cliche, but hear me out. The objective is focusing on daily improvements rather than perfection. So it directly counters the avoidance caused by the fear of failure because instead of seeking to be perfect, you collect measurable everyday achievements. So keep a journal where you write even tiniest improvements of a day. Reflect on them, keep streaks like 7 days, 14 days, whatever works for you, and celebrate them. And over time, this rewires your brain to see growth not as pressure, but as progress. And that is when fear of failure becomes a doorway instead of a wall. But please remember, like anything, winning begins with mindset. Each person should remember the path they have walked, and each so-called failure is just a lesson. So perhaps a real win begins not the moment you succeed, but the moment you decide to keep going, even when fear tells you not to. Thank you.